I'm assuming these are different things. One, she wants to have him with her at all times, but the other, I think she's reliving moments that she had with him. Hi everyone, I'm Sam Qurashi and I'm an Instagrammer, and I used to be a psychiatric resident in an addiction hospital. And right now I'm on YouTube, apparently, and I'm gonna be doing react videos. I'm gonna be watching videos on YouTube that I haven't seen before. They're gonna be presented to me. And I've never done this before, so it's gonna be really interesting. So let's see what happens. So I wasn't supposed to look, so now I'm gonna look and see what the surprise video is gonna be. Okay, so meeting the woman addicted to eating her husband's ashes. Nice.
My name is Casey. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Fayetteville, Tennessee, and I'm addicted to carrying around my husband's urn. I take my husband everywhere, to the grocery store, shopping,
Ooh, babe, look at that. That's neat.
to the movies, out to eat. Anywhere I go, he goes. I sleep with him.
Like, baby, I love you.
When I go grocery shopping, I buy the foods that he likes. When I cook what he likes. I don't eat it, but I cook for him. If I'm watching TV, he's there with me.
You want to watch this?
If somebody says, hey, who is that? I'm like, that's just my husband. Some people laugh. They think I'm playing, but it's serious. It's my husband.
Casey and
Let me pause there. I feel for her. I mean, it's one thing. Okay, so she's clearly attached to her husband, and everybody deals with grief in a different way, and everybody handles things differently. And what's interesting about that is it's hard to let go. When you love someone, you're connected with someone for such a long time, it's really hard to let go. And I guess people react in different ways, adapt to grief in a different way, adapt to the loss in a very different way. And I guess some adaptations are very extreme, and some adaptations, I mean, I can't think of something more extreme than that at the moment. Nothing comes to mind. But what's interesting is she doesn't want to let go of her. It says eating her husband's ashes, so I don't really know where this is going, but the fact that she's carrying him with her everywhere, having the same experiences that they had. I'm assuming these are different things. One, she wants to have him with her at all times, but the other, I think she's reliving moments that she had with him as well. So she sleeps with the urn next to her, with his ashes next to her. She goes to the supermarket. She does things, cooks the meals he likes. It creates an illusion that gives comfort as well. It's a very interesting adaptation because you're creating comfort for yourself by creating the illusion that the person is not there, by maintaining the behavior that you used to have while that person was alive. And it is comforting. So I understand why people cope with that. Obviously, accepting the reality doesn't mean you need to let go of certain rituals, because sometimes you can still do the rituals. The real issue here is when it actually affects your lifestyle, when it affects how you live, when you get caught up in a loop that prevents you from connecting with other people. The fact is, she's so connected with her husband, which is fine, but this may lead to a problem where she cannot connect to another man and get married and have another relationship and move on from that one by maintaining the illusion of his existence. So I just wanted to mention that. Now let's see where this is going.
Sean were married in 2009 after dating for 10 months.
Everything I had ever wanted in a man was right in front of me, and it felt so great.
They fell in love and was soulmates from day one. The 2.5 years that they were together, I think, was the only time Casey was truly, truly happy.
Their marriage was picture perfect until Sean suffered a severe asthma attack 2 months ago.
The doctor came in, and the look on his face was telltale. It was the day my world stopped turning. The day my life fell apart.
Oh, baby, I miss you.
Though Casey initially found comfort by having her husband's ashes at her side, her addiction has recently evolved.
I guess with the transfer of his cremains, you know, some got into the cardboard box as well, and they spilled out on my hands. And I didn't want to wipe them off because that's my husband. I don't want to wipe him away. So I just licked it off my fingers, and here I am today, almost 2 months later, and I can't stop. I'm eating my husband.
Okay, I didn't see that one coming. Huh.
First, I lick my finger, and I don't just dip it in. I swirl around to kind of feel and get it caked on there good. And then I just eat it.
Okay, this is interesting. This is getting... Okay, so did not expect that. Well, it did say eating, but I just, yeah. Okay, so what's interesting about this is that the accidental release of his ashes, he means so much to her that she didn't want to lose any part of him. She didn't want to release it, empty it, or throw it. She may have felt on some level, conscious or unconscious, that it was disrespectful to do that. So one thing that she could have done is she could have emptied it back into the urn or the box, but ingesting it was a reflex because there was nothing else to do. I would imagine that was basically what happened. And the fact that she did that, I think in that moment, because it was such a different experience, and sometimes the experiences that are very, very different, the experiences that we have never done before and never thought we would ever do, or we have seen others do but we never thought we would do, and sometimes when that moment happens, we get addicted to the high, the rush that comes from doing something we've never done before. And that breaks boundaries or violates boundaries, our own boundaries in some way. And so I think what that did as well is that elation tied with the idea of connecting with her husband on that level, that she is connecting with him. She's ingesting a part of him. It's almost a kind of a psychological, ritualistic kind of connection. It's a very interesting connection. So you combine the sudden violation of a boundary that you never thought that you would ever break, or doing something new that you never thought that you would ever do, combine that with preserving something based on someone you love, connecting with that person on a deeper level, and then you have a formula, a combination, a very interesting recipe for something that keeps going. My thoughts now are on, how long is she gonna do this? Is she gonna, eventually that box is gonna run out. So I wanna see where this is going and what she's gonna do in relation to that. So let's see.
It tastes like rotten eggs, sand, and sandpaper. But I've grown to love that taste. It started as not wanting to get rid of him, and it's progressed into eating him. I've lost 42 pounds since my husband passed away.
Interesting.
Basically, the only thing I'm eating are his ashes.
Casey
Interesting.
eats her husband's ashes 5 to 6 times a day.
So, okay, eating his ashes is one thing. Only eating his ashes is another. And why I find this interesting is the way I'm looking at it is, and maybe she's going to talk about it, I'm not really sure, but if she eats his ashes and then she starts eating something else, it may on an unconscious level feel like a betrayal. So she doesn't want to betray her husband by eating something else other than him. Again, the problem with that is, how can she ration that? How can she keep going with that? If she's eating 5-6 times a day, I don't know how she can keep doing this. And so let's see.
When I open up the urn, I get a sense of happiness It's like an adrenaline rush for me.
Of course.
And the more I eat, the more excited I get until I realize there's not a lot left. Then a few minutes later, I feel horrible because I did it. When I got Sean back from the crematory, he weighed 6 pounds. He is closer to 5 pounds now, so I have consumed right at a pound. That's hard.
Here's the interesting loop that she unintentionally put herself in. She's now eating his ashes. It's a way to connect with him after creating the ritual on a daily basis to maintain his presence. And now she's eating his ashes. So she's connecting on a deeper level. And then on top of that, she's now feeling guilty for eating his ashes. So she's enjoying eating the ashes, but she feels guilty about eating the ashes. And the guilt, I would imagine, comes from the fear of losing him. She already lost him, and she created the illusion of the fact that he's still there. And now by eating him, she feels connected to him, but at the same time, while eating him, she's actually losing him in the process. By connecting with him, she's losing him. So you got the pleasure and the pain, you got the enjoyment of connecting with him, and you have the fear of not being able to continue to connect with him on that level, because over time, after a very short period of time, she will lose him entirely in a new way, other than the fact that she has lost him. And I think this struggle creates a very interesting cognitive dissonance, a very interesting trap, because what's also happening is that the more she loses him this way, the more she cannot maintain the illusion that she has lost him completely through death. That separation can no longer be maintained. That facade of the illusion of that no longer being there can be much more is going to be much more difficult for her to maintain. So let's see what happens.
I'm eating my husband.
Very few people know that Casey is eating her husband's ashes. She recently shared this secret with her mother.
When Casey actually told me that she was eating Sean's ashes, it was like I couldn't speak. I really couldn't do anything. I mean, it's like I was just frozen there.
It makes me feel embarrassed, ashamed, disgusted with myself, confused, crazy is a big one that pops into my head. Gotta be a really sick person to eat someone's ashes.
That's another side to it, but what I was mentioning was basically the unconscious side that she may not even be thinking about. The conscious side is exactly what she said, which is the idea of the shame that comes from, in a way, being a cannibal. She's eating another human, and not only any human, but the human that she loved. So it feels, the connection now feels like a violation. She's devouring what she needed to protect, if that makes sense.
It's panicking me and it's worrying me that she's losing reality even more. And I need to do what I need to help her get past that.
Knowing that a pound is already gone is hard. And that's one reason I need help. Because I'm going to run out soon. And I don't know if I'll be able to hold it together any better than I'm doing now. What am I going to do when I go to bed at night and there's just an urn there and there's nothing in it?
But can Casey quit her addiction to eating her husband's ashes? Can her family stop her before it's too late?
I just want her to stop eating the ashes. That's my one and only hope for my daughter.
I have to stop eating him. I've lost him once. This time it'll be my fault that I lose him again. And I don't want to do that. And it's going to get to that point really soon if I don't get help.
So, okay. So just to touch upon this real quick. The idea is, there are a couple of issues, there are a couple of points here. Number one, her carrying him around. Number two, her eating and suffering from the inability to stop. So you have that. But then you have the previous one, which is the inability to basically stop carrying him everywhere. So one thing I would personally tackle, would be dealing with the grief and the acceptance of the loss and releasing the emotions that she has been feeling related to that she's suppressing, that necessitates this adaptation. And when that is released, then she wouldn't have the need to carry him around. It's okay to maintain certain rituals. It's very healthy to remember and sometimes have a ritual where you do something to remember the person you love. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a way to celebrate the time that they were with you, the time you spent with them when they were here. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when it starts affecting your life and affecting your emotions, which will affect your life, in her case, she's caught up in a loop that it will affect her eating habits, which already did. It will affect her sleeping habits because she's worried about not being able to have him there. But she needs to get used to not having him there because he's no longer there. And it starts to affect her work. They didn't even touch upon the work, on her, anything that is affecting her work. I didn't see anything related to kids, obviously, because as far as I understood, they were only 10 months after the relationship they got married. As far as I remember, a lot has been happening. This is my first experience in this. So, but there are other aspects, how it's affecting the relationships she had with everybody and her ability to move on and have another relationship. So all that, if we find the main point to tackle, it would be grief. You do that, you release the grief, then all these adaptations will not be as necessary. And she not only will stop the actual behavior, and obviously stopping the behavior would be a lot easier, and there's another way of handling that. But it's hard to tackle the addiction of eating, can't believe I'm saying this, but this is the addiction of eating her husband's ashes without addressing the reason for the adaptation that led to that accident, which is her carrying him all around, everywhere. So let's see.
She wants to reveal the truth to her cousin Stephanie and ask for help.
I'm feeling anxious a little bit, nervous. I don't want to lose the trust that we have. I'm ready to tell her and I'm ready to get it out. I have something to tell you, Stephanie.
Oh no.
I don't want you to freak out and I don't want you to get mad and I really don't want you to push me away and not talk to me anymore. I carry around Sean everywhere. I've been eating his ashes.
Wow.
Like, he'll always be a part of me because
Right.
I'm eating him,
Yeah, but I don't know what to think about that. I mean, it is a kind of a little too much, maybe.
I don't quite understand why Casey would feel as far as eating the ashes would bring her closer to him. I don't understand that part. I don't understand why she would want to keep eating it.
So, like, when you're eating the ashes, like, what's going through your mind at that moment?
It comforts me and then I do it and then it makes me sad because I'm slowly losing my husband again. And I'm so scared that I'm pretty close to the edge right now. And if I eat him, like all of him,
It may push you over.
it may push me over.
Right.
But then again, where's my comfort gonna be? I don't wanna be, oh, there's a little crazy lady that ate her husband. But it's comforting. When we first started, he was 6 pounds. And
Right.
now he's almost 5 pounds.
Right.
And in another 6 months, not even 6 months, maybe 3 or 4 months from now, at the rate I'm going, he'll be gone.
Right.
Who am I gonna hold at night? Who am I gonna take with me everywhere?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do to comfort myself then?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to think about that.
Okay, that's an interesting, well, I guess that's how the videos are, I'm not really sure, but the video just ended. So what I would do, hold on, let me cancel that. It's taking me to another video that I haven't seen. So in terms of what she was going through, she's fearing the loss, and this kind of ties into everything I said at the beginning based on where I felt this was going and based on my understanding of what was happening. There's something to be said about the micro-expressions at the end, but I didn't want to pause because micro-expressions would be something else we can tackle. But the idea behind her struggling with this is she didn't want to lose him again. She didn't want to deal with the loss because she would have to deal with the loss. And I think the thing that is very important to understand here, and it's very difficult for people to understand when somebody's going through something that kind of pushes them to behave in a certain way, because they don't understand the inner workings of what's happening. But with her, what was basically, in addition to everything I was explaining, is she was attempting to avoid the realization that he was gone. She fears the unknown that is attached to her acceptance of him no longer existing. And the faster she goes through the grieving process and accepts that he's no longer there, because there's a big gap, there's a big unknown there, the faster she can deal with it and adapt to that unknown, which is not as bad as she thinks it is. It's only that our imagination can create things beyond what's true and what's real. And the fact of the matter is, there's so many different possibilities that aren't necessarily horrifying. Life goes on, and as simple as that is, it's the truth. Life goes on, and whatever happens will pass. Whatever you're dealing with will pass, because it's no longer in the present moment. But we tether ourselves to the past, and that's what keeps us trapped. And that's her way of adapting to what happened to her, and it's her way of connecting to the past, but in a way that stops her from moving forward. And this is really where the trap happens. If I let go of the past, I'm abandoning the past, I'm betraying the person. But in reality, that's not the case. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you'd like to see more episodes, and if there's anything you'd want to recommend, please comment below and let me know your thoughts, and I'd be more than happy to watch it. This has been a very interesting experience, and I'm sure this is not going to be the only one. It's going to be the first of many. So have an amazing morning, evening, afternoon, night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye for now.